Alright guys, it's your boy, Carolina Chris, 26. Alright guys, I'm your boy, Carolina Chris, 26, and welcome to the home of Native Heroes in Comics. It's to highlight my love for my culture and my love for comics. I wanted to do a series of videos to shine a spotlight on Native American superheroes in comics. Now, I'll give you a little bit of their origin, their power set, their first appearance, and their creators. And I'll leave it up to you to hopefully find out more if you so choose. So now guys, our character of the night goes by Danielle Moonstar. She's 5'8", 123 pounds. She's got black hair and brown eyes. Guys, let's get into this character. Danielle Moonstar was born in Colorado to members of the Cheyenne Nation. The first time Danny's powers manifested, she saw the image of her parents dying. She saw a huge bear standing over the bodies of a horse and an eagle, representing her mother, the horse, her father, the eagle. Shortly thereafter, her parents took a trip into the mountains and they disappeared, presumed to be dead. Prior to her parents' disappearance, Danny was sent to live with some neighbors, but she did not have control over her mutant ability and began to create illusions based on their fears and deepest desires, resulting in much resentment toward her in the community. To escape the hatred of the community, she went to live with her grandfather, Black Eagle, a recluse in the mountains. Black Eagle was an old friend of Charles Xavier and contacted him upon learning of his granddaughter's mutant abilities. He told Danny of Xavier and his wish for her to go study with him at his school. However, the news angered her. She did not wish to be sent away with a white and accidentally lashed out with her power, creating an image of her grandfather's death. Before Xavier could arrive, Black Eagle was killed by Donald Pierce's henchmen from the Hellfire Club. In her quest for vengeance, Danny freed Karma from Pierce's imprisonment and encountered Xavier and the other young mutants whom Pierce would threaten with his genocidal anti-mutant agenda. After Pierce was defeated, Danny stayed with Xavier to honor her grandfather's wishes. At first, she took the codename Psyche, but shortly thereafter became better known as Mirage, as she soon come to see the New Mutants as not only close friends, but family. When the demon bear who claimed her parents came for her, Danny went out to face it, but it mauled her severely, nearly killing her. She would have been paralyzed had it not been for the life-saving powers of the Morlock's healer. The New Mutants fought the bear on a magical plane, defeating it and freeing Danny's parents from its clutches. In one adventure, the New Mutants and the X-Man Storm were kidnapped by the Enchantress of Asgard at Loki's request. When Ilyana Rasputin, also known as Magic, attempted to teleport them all away, the New Mutants found themselves scattered throughout Asgard. Danny found herself in a grassy plain where she spotted a fully white winged horse that had been trapped by some hunters, and she began to attempt to free it. While trying to set the winged horse free, an army began to charge at her. Unwilling to leave the horse helpless and not willing to run, Danny chose to fight back, which led to her using her telepathic abilities to draw forth the image that the oncoming warriors feared most, Hela, Asgardian goddess of death. The enemies froze in fear and left immediately without a backwards glance. It is possible that Danny's moments of seeing her parents' and grandfather's death may have incited a previously existed mystical ability. Danny, not recognizing who the image was, cared less and returned to the winged horse and freed it. The horse instantly began to trust and bond with Danny. The horse was one of the winged steeds of the Valkor, who had chosen her to be a Valkyrie, one of the chosen of the slain. New Mutants joined forces with the X-Men to defeat Loki. The steed, which Danny named Brightwind, returned to Earth with her. Upon her connection with Brightwind, Danny was very different though, in powers as well as responsibilities. Danny was no longer just a human mutant, but a Valkyrie. This title gifted her the ability to see death, or an aura of death around individuals who were to die soon. This gift also allowed Danny the ability to fight death itself. On a couple occasions, Danny attempted to fight death to save the lives of those around her, though she was not always successful, and learned that death was a natural process of life, not always to be feared. Later, when Hela attempted to take over Asgard, Danny found herself trapped under the sway of Hela along with the rest of the Valkor. She attempted to kill Odin, but the New Mutants combined with the Asgardians defeated Hela's forces, freeing the Valkor and Danny. Dani then chose to remain behind in Asgard to help repair the damage she had done. Eventually, Dani returned to Earth, and unbeknownst to any of her friends, she joined S.H.I.E.L.D. as a S.H.I.E.L.D. operative. She took on a mission to go undercover in the Mutant Liberation Front, the MLF, using the codename Moonstar. Purposely withholding information of her recent past, she would use her powers against her old teammates, while serving as an informant for Cable. Dani was forced to take on a harder, darker persona, almost changing herself completely, including her mutant powers. Dani was able to refine her psychic abilities to the point where she focused her mental energies into creating psychic arrows. These same arrows, once connected with their intended target, would incapacitate them by either knocking them unconscious or temporarily paralyzing them, completely taking them out of the fight. Not only did Dani take on a darker appearance in mind and body, but it also changed Brightwind. No longer bright at all, her Pegasus was not white, but completely black, and now called Darkwind. While a part of the MLF, Dani struggled with her undercover status, as it put her at odds with herself. An unfortunate side effect to her deep cover was that it brought her into many conflicts with old allies, X-Force, which was largely comprised of former New Mutants. Additionally, she began to get to know the members of the MLF a lot better, resulting in a genuine friendship with the mutant named Forearm. Her job became more of a struggle as she began to feel guilt by her actions, and, as Rhinefire, the MLF's leader, began to suspect her loyalties. After the MLF and X-Force battle, Operation Zero Tolerance, Dani left S.H.I.E.L.D., and therefore the MLF too, to rejoin her friends in X-Force. During the team's encounter with the operatives of the Damocles Foundation, Dani was accidentally transmorphed into a crystal-like state by the reality-warping Arcadia DeVille, who had no real control over her abilities. A few minutes later, Moonstar reverted back to flesh and blood, and it seemed nothing had changed. X-Force and Arcadia parted ways, unaware of the side effects that this incident would cause. Over the next few days and weeks, Moonstar discovered that her body had been altered on a molecular level and that she now possessed new powers. She can now channel the quantum energies that make up the universe, which allowed her to affect matter on a subatomic level. Actually learning by doing, Dani found a way to perceive these quantum energies as interconnected particles and waves. She found she could affect those connections by changing the physical nature of all things, including an electromagnetic field such as the one generated by Magneto during X-Force's encounter with him in Genosha. Not only Moonstar who had been changed, but Arcadia too. Their brief encounter had created some sort of link between the two women, and they began to access each other's memories and nightmares. Haunted by visions of Demon Bear, Arcadia accidentally provided this monstrosity with a new physical form, and chaos ensued in San Francisco. Moonstar and DeVille were both consumed by the bear, who wanted to add their powers to his own. However, from within, the two women tried to reabsorb the energies that had been used in his creation. Eventually it worked, as the bear was destroyed, but Arcadia could not handle the increased power level and retreated deep within her own mind. She transformed herself into the Queen of Star Swords, an evil character from her childhood tales. Perceiving Moonstar as a potential threat, she split her apart within 4 different Moonstars appearing, each representing different aspects of Dani: the New Mutant, Valkyrie, MLF, and Quantum Powered, while the real Moonstar was left a powerless husk. Out of thin air, the Queen created a cathedral in a dimensional rift as her headquarters, and, venturing inside, X-Force became lost in different alternative timelines. Eventually, they tracked down the Moonstar fragments, and Dani was reunited. Using her abilities in combination, Moonstar ended the threat of the Queen, as she channeled the entire might of her quantum-based powers into a psionic arrow, which sealed the rift and returned Arcadia to normal. Their link severed, Dani no longer could access the quantum energies and was back to her psionic arrows and emotional illusion casting. Later, some members of X-Force decided to get British Black Op Pete Wisdom to train them and improve their effectiveness. However, Moonstar, like Domino, could not agree with his methods and quit the team. Instead, she joined the X-Men on a part-time basis. While this, she attended college classes in her spare time. Dani rarely went out on any missions, but mostly functioned as mansion staff along with Forge. Dani returns home to Colorado and she gets involved with Xavier's school again, and she learns of the plight of a young mutant named Sophia Montega. And Sophia was sent to live with her dad, who didn't want her. So after being ignored by her dad and ridiculed by students, she snaps and causes havoc, controlling the wind with her abilities at one of her father's supermarkets. So her father's he's willing to leave her in jail, but Danny steps to him and says, "Look, let me take her with me. I can help her out." And he lets little Sophia go with Danny. So she becomes a teacher, but she loses her powers during M Day, and she ends up going to Hela, asking for some kind of favor. And believe it or not, her favor is to have her Valkyrie abilities back. So Hela grants her this favor, but she says there's going to be a price to pay, you know. So she gets her powers back from Hela. She becomes a Valkyrie, and during during this battle against Norman Osborn in the Dark Avengers, she goes up against the god Ares and brings him to his knees. You know, beats the mess out of him, brings him to his knees. So then later on, Hela comes a calling, and Danny's got to pay up on the favor. You know, she come to her wanting the favor, to have her Valkyrie powers back, and Hela comes a calling for her favor. You know, which is for her to escort the souls of the dead to her, because Asgard, which is currently on Earth, is under siege. And Danny's reluctant. She don't really want to do it because she believes, Hela has some kind of ulterior motive. Come to find out, she was wrong, and Hela was actually trying to save them. So it's kind of a bummer there. But yeah, guys. Alright, guys, here's Danielle's powers and abilities. Danielle Moonstar's principal ability was to pull images of great fear or desire from her victims and manifest them as three-dimensional illusions. While she consciously uses this ability, it does not allow her to scan a person's mind. Her only knowledge of what the image she conjures is when it manifests in front of her. The illusion would appear as a holographic image to all those that saw it, except for the victim. They would think it's real. So, as you can tell, she can pull an image from a person's mind. That don't mean she can go in your mind and say, "You're scared of spiders. I'm going to put a spider in front of you and scare you." Or she can go in your mind and see, "You're scared of stuffed teddy bears. So I'm going to put a gigantic stuffed teddy bear in front of you." She don't know what the image is you're scared of until she sees it herself. So anyone else who sees the image other than you, they believe it's a holographic image. But you see it, you believe it's real, and you're scared to death. So, that's kind of how her ability, if I'm explaining it right, guys, that's kind of how her ability works. As a byproduct of her illusion casting, she could focus her psionic powers into energy arrows, which stun an opponent, and had a type of telepathic empathy with animals, sensing their feelings and seeing through their eyes, which is kind of how she got along with Wolfsbane when Wolfsbane was in non-human form. When Wolfsbane was a wolf, she could talk. She could talk to wolves, birds, panthers, any kind of animal. She could see through their eyes. She could feel when they were angry, mad, or sad, or scared. Basically she could feel their pain. She could see through their eyes, and she could talk to them. So, guys, it's kind of a cool ability, don't you think? After being depowered on M Day, Danny was able to regain her powers she had been granted by Hela as guardian goddess of death as Hel's Valkyrie. She received a winged horse named Brightwind as her steed and a blade made of Uru metal, the same metal that Thor's hammer was made from. So she receives a sword that's made of the same metal as Mjolnir. Sorry, guys, I can never say that name. She had a horse that was Brightwind. And as you know, she was Hel's Valkyrie. She, transported the souls of the dead to Hela, as guardian goddess of death. So, that's pretty much the extent of what her powers is from what I see. It was at times, I want to say when Danielle Moonstar is at her mightiest, her most powerful, her strongest, she's she's kind of a force to be reckoned with. You know, she could really toy with her enemies if she wanted to. Most of all, when she was quantum powered, Danielle, she was pretty powerful at that point. So which one do you guys like? Do you like the New Mutant Danielle, the MLF Danielle, Valkyrie Danielle, or quantum powered Danielle? Which one do you like? Me personally, it's a toss up between the Valkyrie and quantum powered. So I don't know. Quantum powered, she could affect things on the subatomic level. I mean, dude, come on, bro. That's yeah. All right, quick breakdown one more time of her powers and abilities. She has empathic illusion casting, neural arrows, animal empathy, death sense, where she can sense a person who's about to die by a death glow around them. She's resist death, to where she's challenged death itself, and the death gods using a Cheyenne ghost shaft, which was made from her own image powers. Moonstar is a better than average athlete for her age, in large part because of all the time she spent on her own in the wilderness. She has a fair knowledge of hand-to-hand combat, has enhanced durability, and is a particularly good horseback rider and swimmer. Moonstar possesses the normal human strength of a girl her age, height, and build who engages in intensive regular exercises. Weapons, primarily she uses bow and arrows in battle, but sometimes also uses guns and swords. Okay, yeah, also, Danielle Moonstar was created by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, and her first appearance is Marvel graphic novel number 4, published in 1982. That's her first appearance. So you want to check it out? There you go. Guys, I hope you liked my video, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, give me a thumbs up if you could, please. Comment down below, let me know what you thought about the video. I respect honesty. Sometimes, deep down inside, I really hate honesty because I don't like people who are sarcastic and mean, but constructive criticism is good. There's a difference between constructive criticism and being a jackass. And, people ride that fine line. So, guys, I'm your boy Carolina Chris 26, the home of Native Heroes in Comics. Thanks, Shane. And guys, don't forget to always make comic book collecting what? Fun again. Hello, and I say hello.